Have you ever told yourself, I'll live to 90? I've still got time? Most people do. But here's a quiet truth that rarely gets spoken. Over 85% of people never make it past their 82nd birthday. Not because of bad luck. Not because of bad genes. But because of 5 critical mistakes, habits so common, so subtle, that they silently steal years from our lives without us ever realizing it. Now imagine this. What if avoiding just these 5 mistakes could give you 10 to 15 more vibrant, independent, meaningful years? It's not fantasy. And today, you'll see why. Let me introduce you to Margaret Lee, a retired school principal from Ohio. She's 75 now, spirited, sharp, and stronger than ever. But just a few years ago, Margaret's story could have ended very differently. At 72, she thought she was thriving. She walked her golden retriever, Finn, every morning. She hosted bridge nights twice a week. She cooked her own meals and handled everything alone. She was proud of that. Until one morning, a minor fall changed everything. The hospital visit revealed what she never expected. Pre-diabetes, severe vitamin D deficiency, and early signs of cognitive decline. But it was what the doctor said next that truly shook her. Margaret, if things keep going this way, 80 might not be in the cards for you. That one sentence was a wake-up call. From that day on, Margaret began a quiet but powerful mission to understand why so many older adults who seem fine still pass away too soon. What she discovered. It wasn't disease. It wasn't bad luck. It was daily decisions, invisible habits, that most people never question. The CDC may list the average lifespan as 79. But what they don't often tell you is this: most people lose the quality of life long before they lose life itself. That's the real tragedy. And the most heartbreaking part? These outcomes were preventable. Today, Margaret is not just alive. She is living fully. At 75, she's mentally sharper than she was at 72. She sleeps better, thinks clearer, feels stronger, moves easier, laughs deeper. Why? Because she learned to eliminate 5 specific mistakes that were robbing her health from the inside out. And these weren't expensive treatments or medical secrets. They were small shifts. Daily choices. Things you could start changing today. Here's something to consider. Have you felt off lately? Maybe your energy dips for no reason, or your mind feels a bit slower than usual? Drop us a comment and let us know. Because you're not alone, and what we're about to share might just be the difference between quietly fading or confidently celebrating your 90th birthday with loved ones around you. So now, take a deep breath. Because what you're about to learn could change everything. Let's begin with the first deadly mistake, the one quietly stealing time from millions, right this moment. Deadly mistake number 1, the pill pile trap, when meds start multiplying in silence. Let's talk about something that might hit close to home, the medicine cabinet that never stops growing. For Margaret Lee, that cabinet looked more like a miniature pharmacy. At one point, she was swallowing 12 different pills every single day. Blood pressure pills, cholesterol meds, sleep aids, painkillers, and more she couldn't even name without checking the label. Sound familiar? But here's the terrifying truth. A recent study from Johns Hopkins revealed that taking 5 or more medications daily can increase your risk of early death by 88%. And no, it's not always about the medications themselves. It's the way they collide, clash, and compound inside your body. Margaret's story is a prime example. Unknowingly, she was prescribed 2 blood thinners by 2 different doctors who didn't speak to each other. On top of that, she often reached for an over-the-counter pain reliever when her joints ached. What she didn't know was that this combo made her a walking time bomb. Then one morning, she noticed deep purple bruises on her arms. She felt bone-deep fatigue that wouldn't lift. A trip to the pharmacist revealed the shocking truth. You're hovering at dangerous levels, Margaret. One internal bleed, and it could be catastrophic. But it goes even deeper than that. You see, modern medicine has a pattern. A new symptom often leads to a new pill. And that pill? It brings another symptom leading to another prescription. And the cycle spirals. Margaret's sleeping pills made her drowsy all day. So she was given a stimulant to help her focus, which upset her stomach. So she was prescribed an acid reducer, which blocked nutrient absorption, which led to weakness, foggy thinking, and yet more pills. It wasn't a health plan. It was a chemical loop with no exit. Until she took back control. Margaret created her own system. A personal medication audit she now calls the STAMP protocol. She wrote down every single thing she was taking, including vitamins, herbs, and supplements. She scheduled quarterly reviews with a trusted pharmacist. She required all her doctors to coordinate before writing anything new. And before accepting any prescription, she asked 5 key questions. Is this symptom truly new, or could it be a side effect? Have we tried any non-drug approaches yet? Do all my doctors know about this medication? Will this interact safely with what I'm already taking? What's the exit plan? How and when do we stop it? Within 6 months, under professional guidance, Margaret reduced her daily meds from 12 to 5. The results? Her energy returned. Her clarity sharpened. And many of the issues she thought were new diseases simply vanished. That aching joint pain? Turned out to be a side effect from a cholesterol drug. Her sleepless nights? A reaction to a blood pressure pill taken too late in the evening. Today, Margaret no longer feels like a passive patient. She's an active participant in her care. And her first line of defense is awareness. So let me ask you. How many medications are you taking right now? When was the last time someone reviewed them, all of them, with your full picture in mind? If you're not sure, you're not alone. Share your story in the comments, because the next mistake we uncover might be hiding in your kitchen right now. Deadly mistake number 2, the invisible toxins lurking in your kitchen cabinet. If you had stepped into Margaret Lee's kitchen 3 years ago, you probably wouldn't have raised an eyebrow. Whole grain cereal, low-fat crackers, sugar-free drinks. On the surface, everything seemed wholesome. But beneath the labels and the health claims, Margaret was unknowingly consuming what geriatric nutritionists call aging accelerators. Hidden ingredients that inflame cells, speed up aging, and quietly invite chronic disease. The biggest culprits? Hidden sugars and artificial sweeteners. One of her go-to-healthy granola bars? It packed a shocking 22 grams of sugar, more than a glazed donut. Her diet sodas, marketed as zero sugar, were loaded with aspartame, an artificial sweetener that several studies now link to increased stroke risk in older adults. And the danger didn't stop there. These additives sent her insulin levels on a roller coaster, inching her closer and closer to diabetes, all while she thought she was making smart choices. The turning point came during a casual grocery trip with her daughter, a registered dietitian. They began reading labels, and the truth hit hard. That whole wheat bread? Sweetened with high fructose corn syrup. The low-fat snacks? Pumped full of sugar to make up for the lack of flavor. Canned soups? Laden with sodium levels that could spike blood pressure overnight. Processed meats? Loaded with nitrates, compounds associated with cognitive decline. But perhaps the most shocking discovery had nothing to do with food labels. Margaret was chronically dehydrated and didn't know it. At 72, her body's thirst signals had dulled, a common change with age. What she mistook for hunger was often just thirst. She was drinking only 2 to 3 glasses of water a day, while also consuming caffeine and wine, both of which dehydrate the body even further. This silent dehydration was contributing to fatigue, mental fog, kidney strain, and even a greater risk of falling. That's when Margaret made a bold decision. She transformed her kitchen and her life using her personal 555 rule. Here's what it looked like. No packaged food with more than 5 ingredients. 5 glasses of water before 5 p.m. to avoid nighttime bathroom trips. 5 different colors of fruits and veggies every single day. She swapped out her snack drawer. No more processed chips, just raw nuts and seeds. No more sugary drinks, just herbal teas and infused water. No more deli meats, only fresh fish and lean chicken. Even her bread got an upgrade, from commercial wheat to truly whole grain, nutrient-dense loaves. And then came the hydration breakthrough. Margaret began her day with a glass of water upon waking, and carried a bottle marked with hourly targets. Herbal teas counted toward her water intake. She even started snacking on hydrating fruits like cucumber, watermelon, and oranges throughout the day. The results were astonishing. In just 4 months, Margaret reversed her prediabetes. Her energy levels soared. Her skin looked noticeably younger. Her joint pain eased, a direct result of reduced inflammation. Her kidneys began functioning more efficiently. But the part that surprised her most? Her grocery bills dropped by 30%. Because once she stopped buying shiny, packaged health foods, she realized they were expensive illusions. So here's something simple you can do right now. Go check one item in your kitchen. Turn it around. Count the ingredients. What's really in there? Let us know in the comments. And stay with us. Because deadly mistake number 3 is the one that almost cost Margaret her independence. Deadly mistake number 3, the be careful trap, how fear of falling accelerates aging. After her first fall, Margaret Lee told herself the same thing many older adults do. I just need to be more careful. So she avoided stairs. She stopped walking on uneven ground. She moved less, stretched less, reached less. It felt like a smart decision. But that mindset, the instinct to protect, nearly stole her independence. Here's the harsh truth. Fear of falling creates the very conditions that make a fall more likely. By cutting back on movement, Margaret unintentionally weakened her muscles, lost her balance, and reduced bone density. Within 18 months of being careful, she needed help just to rise from a chair. And the statistics back it up. Seniors who reduce activity out of fear of falling are 3 times more likely to actually fall within the year. Even worse? 1 week without regular movement ages your muscles by up to 6 months. So in her effort to stay safe, Margaret was quietly speeding up the aging process. Her wake-up call came on a quiet Sunday. Her 6-year-old grandson ran to hug her and she couldn't lift him. Not even a few inches. A physical therapist later said bluntly, "Margaret, you're 72, but your muscle mass is closer to 85. Your protective instincts are quietly harming you." That's when everything shifted. Margaret embraced what she now calls the power of 3. A simple, daily movement ritual that rebuilt her body, 1 habit at a time. 3 balance exercises every morning while brushing her teeth. 3 strength movements during TV commercial breaks. 3 gentle stretches every night before bed. She started small. Standing on 1 foot for 10 seconds while holding the sink. Sitting and standing from a chair 5 times. Reaching toward her toes with soft control. Then the progress came. Week 1, barely 5 seconds of balance. Week 4, 30 seconds without holding anything. Week 12, single leg squats. Week 24, hiking trails with her grandkids. But the real breakthrough? Margaret discovered that muscle can grow at any age. Studies show that even people in their 90s can double their strength in just 12 weeks. She joined a senior-friendly fitness class and found something surprising. The social aspect kept her more consistent than willpower ever did. She also added functional movements to her daily life. Carrying groceries in multiple ways to build grip and core strength. Practicing floor-to-stand transitions essential for post-fall recovery. Walking on grass, gravel, and slopes to challenge her balance. Dancing for coordination and joy. The biggest transformation wasn't just physical. It was mental. Instead of avoiding difficulty, Margaret began seeking it out. She climbed stairs intentionally, at first holding the rail. She balanced on 1 leg while cooking. She did chair yoga during TV time. Now, She can deadlift 60 pounds from the floor. She teaches gentle yoga to other older adults. Her bone density has increased by 12%. And she hasn't fallen once in over 2 years. But more than that, she's no longer afraid. She travels. She plays. She lives fully. Let me ask you something. What movements have you stopped doing, not because you can't, but because you were trying to stay safe? Share your story in the comments. And stay with us, because deadly mistake number 4 quietly affects 7 out of 10 older adults, without them even knowing. Deadly mistake number 4, the silent time bomb called social isolation. When Margaret Lee retired from her career in education, she thought peace and quiet was exactly what she needed. No more staff meetings. No demanding parents. No endless emails. Just stillness. Solitude. A break from it all. But within 6 months, that silence began to echo. Some days passed without a single meaningful human interaction. Her world had slowly shrunk. From classrooms and conversation, to just her living room, her loyal dog, and the occasional grocery run. What Margaret didn't realize was this. Social isolation is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It raises the risk of early death by up to 50%. And it can double the chances of developing dementia. In older adults, chronic loneliness acts like a slow poison, damaging brain cells, weakening immunity, and speeding up physical decline. Then came the pandemic, and everything worsened. Her beloved bridge club dissolved. Church services went virtual. Family visits became video calls. She found herself talking to her dog more than to people. She began to lose track of days, forgetting whether she'd taken her medication, or what day of the week it even was. The wake-up moment came one morning, when her daughter found her quietly crying in the kitchen. "It feels like I'm disappearing," Margaret whispered. That's when they discovered a powerful study. Older adults with strong social bonds live 22% longer and have 50% less cognitive decline. Margaret decided then she wasn't going to fade into silence. Her connection comeback began with tiny steps. A wave to her neighbor turned into a coffee invite. Grocery trips became opportunities to chat, especially during senior shopping hours. She joined a book club at the local library, volunteered at the hospital gift shop, and most courageously embraced technology. She learned to video chat with her grandchildren, took online classes, and even joined virtual communities based on her hobbies. But the turning point came when Margaret started something of her own. The Tuesday Club, a weekly gathering for older residents in her apartment complex who felt isolated. It began with just 3 people and a deck of cards. Now, over 20 seniors meet weekly for games, sharing, and real connection. She lives by her real connection model. R. Regular contact, check in with close friends every day. E. Emotional depth, go beyond small talk, share what's real. Active engagement, do things together, not just talk. L. Laughter and joy, make space for lightness and warmth. The results? Her vocabulary expanded within weeks. Her blood pressure dropped 15 points. Her depression lifted without medication. Her memory improved as daily conversations reactivated her brain. Margaret discovered something profound. One honest conversation is worth more than 10 shallow interactions. Today, her social life is stronger than ever. 3 deep friendships she speaks with daily. 10 familiar faces she meets weekly. 1 volunteer role that gives her purpose. 1 learning group that keeps her mind sharp. Technology? No longer a barrier. She uses it to stay close to loved ones, find like-minded communities, and even reconnect with old friends. At 75, her calendar is fuller than it was at 65. But now, it's filled with connection, not obligation. She even hosts dinners, mentors new retirees. And yes, after 3 years of widowhood, she's dating again. So let me ask you, How many days have gone by without a real conversation in your life? Leave a comment and stick with us. Because deadly mistake number 5 is something almost no one talks about. But it might be the most dangerous of all. Deadly mistake number 5, the tragic myth of mental decline. Forgetfulness is just a part of getting old. It's normal to feel a little confused with age. Margaret Lee believed those things until the day she forgot her granddaughter's name. It shattered her. Up until that moment, she had accepted the slow fade of memory as something inevitable. That dementia was just a roll of the dice. That cognitive decline was simply the price of aging. But that belief almost destroyed her. Because here's the hidden truth. Believing memory loss is normal actually speeds up cognitive decline by up to 60%. Once Margaret stopped challenging her mind. Once she began excusing forgetfulness as natural. Her brain, like an unused muscle, began to atrophy. But science tells a different story. The brain has the incredible ability to create new neurons at any age. This process, called neuroplasticity, doesn't stop at 60, 70, or even 90. But Margaret's surrender caused her hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, to shrink by 2% each year. The breaking point came on a quiet Thursday. She got lost, on the very road she had driven for 15 years to visit her daughter. She couldn't remember the address. Her GPS couldn't help. She sat in a parking lot, crying, terrified, unsure of where she was, or how to get home. That was the day Margaret decided to fight back. She created her personal plan for brain revival, a daily routine that rewired her mind, one habit at a time. Morning, 15 minutes of brain training apps like Lumosity or Elevate. Afternoon, learning something new, Spanish, piano, painting. Evening, journaling to process and organize her emotions. Before bed, reading challenging books, not just light novels. Her new mantra? Never stop learning. Week 1, she struggled to form basic Spanish phrases. Month 1, she ordered coffee in Spanish. Month 6, she chatted with native speakers. Year 1, she read an entire Spanish novel, cover to cover. Margaret also explored powerful memory techniques. The method of loci, tying new information to familiar places. Story chains, turning lists into vivid narratives. Teach to remember, explaining new concepts to others. Dual encoding, combining images and language for stronger recall. But the biggest surprise? Exercise became her most powerful brain booster. Her daily walks raised levels of BDNF, a brain-derived neurotrophic factor that promotes neuron growth, by over 300%. She also joined a dance class, which combined coordination, memory, and social interaction, a triple force for cognitive health. She adopted the SMART brain method. S. Stimulate, challenge your brain daily. M. Move, physical movement to power mental sharpness. Associate, link new info to what you already know. R. Repeat and teach, reinforce by repetition and sharing. T. Track, monitor your progress to stay motivated. In just 6 months, her memory test scores improved by 40%. She learned to play piano at age 73. Became the unofficial tech helper in her building. Started teaching English to immigrants. Began writing her memoirs, remembering details she thought were gone forever. Her neurologist said it best. Your brain scan looks a decade younger than your age. Why? Because Margaret created cognitive reserve. A mental buffer that protects against future decline. And she discovered something profound. The moment you believe your brain can no longer grow, it begins to die. But the moment you believe in its renewal, it begins to bloom. So, let me ask you. What skill have you been putting off learning because you thought it was too late? Leave your answer below, and remember. Your mind is still capable of miracles. Let's pause, and look back at the extraordinary transformation of Margaret Lee. 3 years ago, she was quietly slipping toward a future no one wants to face. Pre-diabetic. Physically fragile. Socially isolated. Over-medicated. Her memory, fading like an old photograph. She was becoming one of the 85% who never make it to 82. Her doctor's words back then were chilling. If things don't change, you might have 5 to 7 more years, but with a declining quality of life. But today? Margaret barely recognizes that version of herself. At 75, she's off all medications. Except for a single blood pressure pill. She can lift her own body weight, speak fluent Spanish, and leads a thriving, vibrant community of seniors who are rediscovering life through her. Her latest blood work left her physician stunned. Your biological age is 20 years younger than your real one. But even that doesn't capture the full transformation. Margaret wakes up eager each morning. She recently returned from hiking in Peru. She mentors young teachers. She nurtures friendships deeper than ever before. And she feels more confident, alive, and purposeful than she did at 60. What changed? She didn't just swap habits. She rewrote her entire story about aging. She stopped accepting decline as destiny. And began treating every day as an invitation. To grow stronger. Think sharper. Connect deeper. I realized I wasn't dying from disease, she says. I was dying from playing it safe. Now she lives boldly. Taking calculated risks that fuel her future self. Every new challenge. Every conversation. Every morning walk. Is an investment in the woman she's still becoming. And her message to others? Stop preparing to die. Start planning to live. Your body and brain still hold miraculous potential. At any age. The only thing standing between you and your most vibrant decade is fear. Margaret's 80th birthday party is already in the works. A lively salsa night, surrounded by her Spanish-speaking friends. Her next goal? To inspire 1,000 older adults to reclaim their lives. Before it's too late. And maybe you're one of them. Among the 5 deadly mistakes we've uncovered today, which one spoke to you most? Drop a number 1 to 5 in the comments. And share one action you'll take today to reclaim your future. Your tomorrow will thank you for it. If this video moved you, tap like and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because yes, one shared video can truly save a life. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell, so you never miss what could change your life next. Remember this. It's not about adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. Your most radiant decade isn't behind you. It's waiting, just ahead.